Assalamu alaikum guys, this here is Gen Z Islam back at it again. Today I'm going to be talking about my views on Hinduism and Buddhism as an ex-Christian turned Muslim convert. So here's my stance on it all. When I was in 8th grade in 2018, when I was a 13-year-old, I studied Buddhism and saw how colorless it looked, yet it made a very interesting analogy about worldly life. That is a wheel. It spins as you age. So Hinduism lacks monotheism, which is not only what I grew up with, but what my heart was hunting for. But it was more colorful, more vibrant, lets you own a house and stay married. I do roundly disagree with it, of course, but at least it allows for a bit more flexibility. Buddhism, on the other hand, is just gray concrete paths under trees, wearing an orange robe, bald head, wet roads shortly after rain, and are expected to sit in one spot in silence and meditate, and celibacy is a strict must, and you can't even own any possessions. That is how I first saw it as the young 13-year-old I was, but I did recognize that there is nuance. So the orange robes are associated with Korea, China, Vietnam, Thailand, and Cambodia, and partly Japan. So Buddhism is originally an Indian invention, but these countries add their own interpretations and practices to it. There are people like Christians who incorporate some aspects of Buddhism in their lives, but that doesn't mean that they are celibate or monks. I myself flirted with Buddhism and Hinduism for a little bit when I was that young 13-year-old, but I stopped because I grew dissatisfied with the overall Buddhist worldview and how it only seemed to tackle worldly matters. They made sense to me, yes, but I feel like there's a whole lot more to it. God, heaven, and the Akhirah. I would say that Buddhism did a good job at explaining desire, worldly life, and suffering, but Islam, on the other hand, it goes hand in hand in explaining worldly life and the afterlife and what happens while still allowing us to be married, have possessions, and God being the center of Islam. And Islam, on the other hand, is colorful, allows for amazing smells and fragrances, amazing food, breaking your fast at the mosque during Ramadan, talking to people, praying to the Abrahamic God who is all-powerful. You are allowed to be married with kids, and it allows for debate and discussion. It does have an outline for a worldly purpose and post-worldly purpose, and you can keep your possessions in a non-greedy way, and you can stay in a house, and is the only religion that actually follows God. It is the most rational of all the religions. There are things that brought me to Islam. I realized that, yes, it does talk about life on earth and aging and all that. It tells us we have a purpose on earth and that we have a life after that too. In Jannah or Jahannam, that is. For instance, let's say I'm taking a long exam in class. Once I hand in my paper, is that simply the end of the exam? Well, yes, but there is more. It's the end of the testing window, sure, but there is still the criteria that goes on, and whether it gets a passing grade or the opposite. Likewise, we only have one life on this earth, but on the day of judgment, there's a criteria that all of humanity has to stand before, and who goes to Jannah and Jahannam. I don't think it's very moral to make a person go through this life on earth many times over. Also, a good argument I have against reincarnation is the population and where it started. Where did it start? Is it eternal, or did it start somewhere? It obviously can't be eternal, since humans, as a species, they began to exist and created by God. Also, where are all the extra humans and animals? We should be seeing billions more people by now. I think that Hinduism and Buddhism make an amazing analogy about life. That is the wheel. It spins and turns at the unborn stage, baby stage, toddler stage, preteen and teen years, adult years, senior citizen and beyond, and finally ending when you die on this earth. A metaphorical wheel is spinning, sure, but there needs to be a why and a who behind it. I contend that it is God who created the wheel and is the one spinning the wheel. The reason for it spinning? For me to make a big difference on earth in a good way and to be rewarded with paradise on Yom Kippur, and also being somewhat analogous to the Kalam cosmological argument I've used on atheists in debates, is that the universe is finite. Therefore, it has an age, therefore it must have had a cause, which is God. Thank you guys so much for listening to my perspective. It means a lot. I know no one's going to watch this, but whoever does, please leave me a like, comment, and voice your take. I'd love to hear from you. Gen Z Islam, signing off. Goodbye.